Okay, it's kind of leveled off now. All right. Hey everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on here with us today. Such short notice. Today's just going to be a really lightweight session, but a really important one. I'm Matthew Foster. I'm the director of API trading here at Public, and I'm joined by my colleague Tarek Sugdeo, who is our head of API development, and he's going to be running the demo here shortly. And today we're going to show you something simple but very powerful. We want to show you how a discretionary trader can take a trade idea that they're describing in plain logic and execute it directly on their public brokerage account using the public API. And I think right now everybody really feels how fast markets are moving. They're becoming more volatile and increasingly automated. And because of that, execution is really mattering more now than it ever has. So it's really no longer about traders just going out and seeking the best entry and exit signals. It's really about how reliably you can translate an idea into an executed trade under these fast-changing conditions. What we've seen as a result is that traders are really relying more on AI-powered tools to describe their trades a little bit clearer. Stuff like the context, the conditions, the structure, and the risk of the trade. So it's really that clarity of the intent that is paired with a really reliable execution is what's making this automation so powerful for us. And that's exactly what we're going to show you here today in a really practical way. So using OpenClaw connected to the public API, a discretionary trader can express a trade idea in a structured logic, and then they can have it executed using the same infrastructure that's powering automated trading here on the public API. And just a quick heads up before we jump in here. Earlier today, I'm not sure if anybody else was using ClawHub, but they rolled out just some updates on the platform. And as a result, some of the new installs are just temporarily disabled. I know that's not idealing for today's demo, but ultimately it's a good thing. Just make sure the platform is as safe and as secure as possible for everyone. But you can still pull from GitHub directly and add it to your OpenClaw environment. And Tarek will walk you through the product and will give you the best demo today. Uh, Tarek's going to walk you through how we've connected to OpenClaw and using the public API. And we'll go through a discretionary idea and then executing that idea end to end. All right. So Tarek, I'll hand it over to you now.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Matthew.
Yep.
Let me just queue up to share my screen here. So, like Matthew just mentioned, the OpenClaw platform had a registry for skills, and the public skill is one of them. But right now, the OpenClaw the Open Hub part of OpenClaw is down, and we still have our skill up on GitHub, which you can see being shared now. Um, the issue that a lot of people are bringing up with OpenClaw and like Open Hub is trust, and something we think is really important when it comes to money management, especially interacting with your brokerage, is being able to trust us. We don't want you to just simply trust. You can also verify. This is why we put our OpenClaw skill up on GitHub. It's open source. You can audit this code however you wish to, before you pulling it into your environment, giving it a secret key, and doing all of that. Now, how would you install OpenClaw and get started with that? The OpenClaw, the cool thing about it is it has this one command install here, and it does take some work to set up, and it's highly personalized to how you want to set this up. So I won't walk through like all of that because it is dependent on what AI model do you want to use. What chat interface do you want to set up with this? What other skills do you want to download with it? And how much access to your life you want to get this thing? Um, so once you download OpenClaw, once you're comfortable using our skill for this, you'd also need to make, of course, a public brokerage account, which you can see if you go to public.com/signup, you'd be able to. And you'd also need to create a public API key, which you can do in your settings once you do create your public brokerage account. Now, once you have OpenClaw all set up, normally you would be able to go to Claw Hub and just download it with the simple command. such as npx claw hub install, and then you would put in our skill. But like we just mentioned, claw hub is having some issues at the moment. Um, so once everything's set up, installed, and you have OpenClaw ready to go on your machine, if you run it in the local chat interface, you'd be meted with something like this. I allowed my instance to name itself. It named itself Atlas. I don't know why. It just liked the name. And you're now able to interact with your public brokerage account through here once you have the skill downloaded and installed. The first time you enter a command, it's going to prompt you to enter your public secret key. Again, once you're comfortable doing this by looking through our code and understanding that the key is never leaving the machine, the skill is written in a way where the model is only ever being used to like interpret intent and language, and all the code calls are done off your local machine, which means your key never leaves the machine and any information about your portfolio is never leaving the machine. It's all being interpreted locally. Um, you're once you do all of that, you're able to interact with your brokerage account using this AI tool in natural language. So I can simply prompt it, how is my portfolio doing today? And it will respond to you with an update on like how your portfolio is performing today. I do not expect a good answer after today, so let's see what happened. Dun, dun, dun. So it is giving a snapshot of my portfolio as we expected. We are down quite a bit after today. And the cool thing about this is you're able to ask it more complex queries about your portfolio, um, just to get more insight about it. So like, what is my worst performing position? It's able to understand your intent, go understand like your what's going on in your portfolio. My worst performing position is SLV, silver, go figure. Um, and doing that. The thing that makes this interesting too is the ability to chain commands together. So for example, you can ask it like, check my buying power and if, oops, tab locks, doesn't matter, but check my buying power. And if it is over $100, buy $50 worth of um VT. And it's gonna go out using the public API. It's gonna check the buying power and it placed the order. And this order is in my public account working. Now, notice like there are some things that it ended up assuming there. Like I didn't tell it a market order. I didn't tell it give it the time and force, but it's intelligent enough to know that because you didn't specify these things, this is most likely the intent that you would want. But if I was to say like place a limit order and have it sit in the market until I cancel it and all of that, it will take that into account when placing this specific order. One of the other things that makes something like this interesting is the ability out of the box to spin up um, processes, sessions, and cron jobs. So I can ask it something along the lines of monitor the price of Bitcoin, and if the price goes below 50K, buy $100 worth of it. And if it goes above 80K, sell the entire position. Um, so we're gonna end up seeing here that it's most likely gonna, yep. Notice it spawned a background monitoring process here, and it will check the price of Bitcoin every 5 minutes and follow these instructions basically. So now it's a trading bot. I have a trading process running. It's a trading bot, and you can give this thing any logic you want. So long as it matches up with your skills and it's understanding intent, you're confirming what's going on, and this is a new way to interact with your brokerage account using natural language and complex processes, um, without the need to write code on your own. One of the other things, though, that makes this cool is it can also be used for our engineers in the room as a development tool. The script I just wrote is going to exist in your local environment, depending on where you put it in your file system, your OpenClaw install. You can go take the script that it wrote and run it separately outside of OpenClaw if you don't want to consume AI credits just running the script. You can do that in your own cloud instance. It might make sense to do that versus running this repetitively using your AI credits, right? So there's a lot of flexibility here and a lot of power that opens up with a tool like this. And we can't wait to see what you guys build with this. Pass it back to Matthew.
Yeah, excellent. So just want to open up Q&A. You guys can just type in anything in there and we're happy to answer some questions for you guys.
Yeah, drop any questions in the chat.
Yeah. And I'm also going to include my Calendly link if anybody wants to hop on like a one-on-one. Really happy to walk you guys through it and help you get set up and go a little bit deeper into some of the prompt engineering if you like. I'm going to put this in the chat real quick here.
Vincent, to answer your question, yes, it does work with options trading. You can also go, and that's something I can actually quickly show here as well. I should have probably demoed that. Um, you can also go and get me the option chain for any stock, SPY, um,
Barrett, could we filter by Greeks? Even give it like
contracts, expiring next Friday. I can check that out, Matthew. Let's see if we can.
yeah, yeah, that would be really interesting.
So you can, in terms of options functionality here, you're able to get the options chain, get the quotes, um, place the orders, and get the Greeks. So technically, because we can get the Greeks, you should be able to filter by them. These are
Nice.
the this is the option chain. Can you also include the OSI symbols? So using the OSI symbols, we can then go and get the Greeks for certain contracts. It seems that this is the call with the most liquidity. So let's go do that. Can you get the option Greeks for this contract? And you can do this for multiple contracts at a time, but just for the sake of it not consuming too much credit here. These are the Greeks for this contract. And can you pre-flight an order where I would buy one of these calls so I can see the impact on my account? Mhm. There we go. So it's able to tell that the value of this order, if I was to buy this contract, how much it would cost me to do, the buying power requirement, any fees we're going to do, and also oh, here we go. It's returning, as you guys might already know, if you have your public accounts, we do rebates on option trades. It's also returning the rebate that you would get here. Um, if I wanted it to place the order, I would tell it to place this order for me, or you can continue doing research on this way to figure out what option contracts are optimal for your trading strategy, and all of that. I'm not going to place this order just because I don't want to buy a call for SPY for next Friday. So there's that.
Nice. I think Nahum had a question here. It said, what happens when the natural language input is ambiguous or could map to valid strategy, or could map to multiple valid strategies?
So this is something that thought about a lot, and ambiguity is not allowed. And like we try our best to avoid it being allowed. The model will do its best to follow up whenever it's basically set up to follow up with you if there's any questions and it wants to verify certain information. Strategies is one of them. If you're trying to trade a multi-leg strategy, it will ask you what, like if you just say, can you trade these two contracts, it'll ask you if you're trying to do a credit spread, account, like what are you trying to do, if that makes sense. Scott had asked, is this feature live now? Yes, it is live. It is in our GitHub. I will drop that link in the chat. You can go and check it out. And there's also some instructions on installing and using it in the README of the GitHub. How does the fee structure work? You want to grab that one, Matthew?
Yeah, yeah. So fee structure is the same as it would be if you were just using open API access on public. So same rebates on options, and then same equity and index options pricing as well. Index options will go anywhere from 85 cents to 94 cents a contract. Um, Equity trades are free, and then we also have crypto available on there as well. And right now, we're doing 30 bips on off ramp on crypto.
Vincent, to answer your question, if where'd it go? Um, Vincent asked, so could you say, hey, OpenClaw, buy me XYZ option if the ticker
This
goes to
price.
X price? The answer is yes, it should spin up a process. And again, if there's any ambiguity, it will follow up and make sure it understands full context before it spins up the process and it will run in the background. To follow up on Benjamin's asking to follow up on Vincent's question, how frequently is data being checked? So, when ran that Bitcoin example, it defaulted to 5 minutes. You can you can specify that, like check the price of this, like whatever it is, every 10 seconds, 15 seconds, every minute, every hour, like whatever it is that you want to specify in that case. And if I said buy me XYZ when price goes to X, will that be instant? I'm guessing if you mean like the if the bot will start working instantly, depending on the speed of your model, it can take like 15 seconds to a minute to spin up, but if you consider that instant, yes, it's like it works right away after it spins up.
Wow, this is incredible.
Agreed. It blew our
Yeah.
minds making this as well. Um,
I think what's really unique about this, and like Tarek, you can like chime in here, is like just the how vast like the usage case is. Even if you're like traveling across asset classes, especially with like options and index options. So um, like I said earlier, like it's really about like taking the structure of a trade, the context of that trade and being able to just execute that on the same infrastructure that the API has, which obviously this is going to be a lot more efficient than just executing on like the web platform. And Tarek, just wanted to ask you this, and I think everyone else is probably interested in this as well. Um, what about like the latency? Let's say like you type in like an option spread and then you wanted to actually execute that. Like what would the latency be like compared to just going through the API directly?
yeah, so the OpenClaw instance is using the API directly. So it's not like it's a separate thing. It does depend on the speed of the model, because of course, instead of it just being a snappy code call where execution is very quick, you are speaking in natural language, and the language has to be interpreted. Um, what's it called? And then the order has to be sent. But all of that depends on the speed of your setup for OpenClaw. But the minute
Yeah.
the order is sent, the execution is running on our engine, which is very fast.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's basically like instantaneous execution then, going from like your idea, which obviously there's a little bit of latency there, but the actual execution of that idea is just instantaneous.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Benjamin's asking basically if you can use technical indicators. This is actually something I started experimenting with. The
Yeah.
answer is yes, Benjamin. If you say things like if RSI is greater than 70 EMA and all that, here's the caveat. You have to add in some form of historical data, which we currently don't provide. It is on the roadmap to provide. So if you're able to get historical data, feed it into the OpenClaw and have that like base the calculations off of in your sub process and then use us to execute that order, the answer is yes. All of these things can play together wonderfully. Nahum asks, will the functionality of this differ from agentic brokerage? Yeah, we don't want to speak too much on agentic at the moment. That's still coming. There might be some overlap here, but they'll both have their purposes.
Yeah, but I think kind of like going back to Benjamin's ask, like once we get more functionality built in the API, then obviously like the usage with like technical indicators will be really wide open then. And there's probably so many different prompts that we could create. And Tarek and I will work on this. We'll start like creating prompts, stuff that's like more common. And we'll also do like another webinar once we get further into our development with using OpenClaw and with the API.
Yeah. Todd asks, how advanced can we make our agents here? For example, can we set a strategy and have it act on the strategy's behalf? I'm not sure what you mean by on the strategy's behalf, but you can kind of think of this as you are able to interact with your public account using the natural language here, and you can use it to execute trades in natural language. So any logic that you bring outside of that to help execute or analyze those trades or do research on those trades, such as Benjamin mentioning technical indicators here, you can use that information to place trades. Of course, always do your due diligence and make sure like your strategies are executing the way you want them to and your logic is sound. But yeah, the how advanced or how simple you want this setup or your agents to be is really up to you. I think we have time for one or two more.
Uh,
So you said credits. How many did you get? Yeah, so OpenClaw runs on your local machine. And by credits, I mean any AI providers like API credits you get to hook into your OpenClaw to help interpret your language. And that really does depend on whichever one you want to use. In the demos, I was using Anthropic just because in our testing it seemed to be the simplest one to use. So it really like it depends on which model you end up using. Some of them will be very expensive, which honestly you don't need advanced models running this thing. But you can use like some simpler models as well to run this. So the credit usage really depends on what you have running. I can't imagine how much research time. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's what makes this tool so powerful. It's a use it how you will tool, right? So you can use it as a development tool. That's how I personally use it, to help create trading strategies and scripts. You can use it as a research tool, and you can use it to execute trades. Ultimately, it's yours to use how you want to use. Understand that, of course, it's an AI tool. It comes with some risk, and it's yours to do like what you will with it. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, and if anyone wants to get together and like chat about it, we also have a Discord. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
include the Discord link in there as well.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, because I'm sure like there's probably gonna be a lot of people hopping in there and chatting about this. And we're just
Mhm.
really interested to see, like, like what you guys come up with, especially with like your prompts and your usage cases.
Yeah.
And then again, if anybody wants to hop on a one-on-one with Tarek or I included my Calendly link in there, so just feel free to schedule some time with me, and we would really love to chat with you guys. And also, before we hop off here, just want to note that nothing in today's session was or should be considered financial advice. Options trading carries significant risk, and you should always consult with your financial advisor before doing so. So, yeah, if no one else has any other questions, we really appreciate you guys joining, and yeah, feel free just to reach out to us anytime. We're really happy to chat about it and get you guys up and running with this. Let me put my Calendly link in here one more time for you.
Yeah. And if you do want to reach out via text as well, Matthew and I are also in that Discord. Uh,
Yeah,
so you could always chat with us there too.
for sure.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure,
All right.
Michael. Thanks. All
Awesome.
right. Thanks so much. And we'll see you guys again next time.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.
All right. Take care.